win, not play to lose. And on the other side, it's win the margins for SFA.
Win the margins and take care of the basketball. That is the one thing all teams have to do against McNeese. Here we go, Lady Jacks and Cowgirls, and it is Stephen F. Austin who has the opening tip. 24-9 overall this year. They've won back-to-back games here in the tournament. They got the first bye as they go inside. Ashlyn Traylor-Walker missed the first attempt, and there is the first takeaway of the day.
Yeah, defensive rebound and running. That's what McNeese is going to want to do. They're going to want to set the pace. With their tough defense, they will always pick up full court.
Well, if you're new here and know nothing about the McNeese Cowgirls, that is exactly how they like to play. Now, as SFA, they'll shoot the three. Armani Dominguez is a big part of that. This is a perimeter team that can open things up on the interior.
You can see Dominguez is being chased off 40 feet away from the basket. She's already hit 91 threes on the season.
But it opens up things on cue on the interior as Chad Gardner draws the foul.
Dorian, you and I were talking about what a great floor spacer Dominguez is. That's number 10 in purple, because then what opens up for SFA is those driving lanes. That's one of the main things Coach Bishop wanted coming into this game.
That last foul was on Lexi Alexander. It's her first, team first. Both of these teams in Stephen F. Austin and McNeese do about everything well. And for the Lady Jacks, that includes shooting free throws, nearly 74% on the season. And that was a big reason why they were able to get back into that semifinal against Lamar.
Getting the ball into the paint, that was key. And they just played with a different sense of urgency in that second half. And you can see they're going to come out and press as well. That's really what worked in that second half.
Jen Pierre getting downhill. She is the leader of this Cowgirls team, does it defensively. Right there, kicks it out. Dakota Howard, the freshman of the year, rattles in another one, and you can already see the balance that McNeese has.
Well, and the first 4 points are going to Howard. She's only a freshman, and we have to mention, when these two teams met earlier this year, she's been averaging 22 points and 15 rebounds. Dorian, she is picking up right where she left off. She must love this matchup.
Coach Gazzardo did say that her production has been down over the last handful of games, but she does it defensively. She talks as a freshman, which is something you almost never hear about.
Yes, talking out there, leading as a freshman, it's just been so big. I mean, and her stats really show that across the Southland Conference.
Key Roseby was a leader as a freshman a year ago, draws the double, kicks to Perry. That three-pointer short, but Roseby on the O board. Miscommunication is going to be another turnover for Stephen F. Austin, and Coach Bishop told us at shoot-around that turnovers were the issue in both of the regular season meetings.
They were. One was out-rebounded by 18 rebounds, and for the most part, SFA is one of the top rebounding teams in the Southland. They're average about 39 rebounds per game, which is good enough for third. On the other side, McNeese is 11th with only 32 rebounds.
Three-pointer off of the mark out of the hand of Alasia Washington.
You can see right there, those defensive rebounds are going to be key and getting out in the open court for SFA.
Transition triple was off the heel. SFA going to need those to go down. They have not shot it particularly well from the perimeter so far in the tournament. Look at that pressure. Loose ball scramble.
Everybody's hitting the deck. That pressure, it gets everybody else moving in the same kind of sense.
Rise, no good. That was Ariana Patton who lit it up the last time these two teams played. Trailer double, poked away, white ball. Been a frenetic pace to start over the first 2.5 minutes. What do you make of what we've seen so far?
It's just, this is what you expect in a championship game, is getting the jitters out and settling into execution. When you come into a championship game, when everything is on the line to get to that NCAA tournament, you just have to focus on what you do best and executing the scout to a T. So, and of course, Dorian, take a deep breath.
Just them or us too?
Yeah, us too, because this is going back and forth out here.
I expect high energy, high octane. That's the way that both of these teams like to play. Corner turn as Washington takes the hit, gets the bucket to go.
Well, you see Washington here. One thing that McNeese will do is get sped up because they're running that weave offense, and they are so quick in their perimeter play that they are able to turn the corner and get downhill.
Foul on Chalk Gardner, her first, team first. And did you see Washington after that flexing on them already? Just 3 minutes into the championship. And you talked about executing the scout. That is something that Coach Gazzardo feels like her team has done so well over the course of the season. She pointed to it as one of the major reasons why they were able to come away with a 27-point victory on that March 2nd matchup. There's a look at Coach Gazzardo. First year on the sidelines here in McNeese as Dominguez sinks her first triple of the night.
Well, we said she can shoot it from long range, and she doesn't need much space. She hit that huge three to tie him into overtime just yesterday.
181st triple over the last 2 years as Traylor Walker takes it away. Lost it right back. Washington gives it off. Lay in for how short. There it goes.
She stays with it.
She wasn't the only one that thought that ball went down. Stephen F. Austin coming off of that win over Lamar in overtime, 64-59. Dominguez hounded by Pierre. 8 on the shot clock. Strict, but gets right into the hand of Ferrier, came up short.
And that's where taking care of the basketball is key, the fundamentals to jump stop in the middle of the lane, because McNeese, they're going to always try to dig out that basketball. You're going to have 2 or 3 players on you from the Cowgirls, just like that.
And again, just getting active hands in there, that's the difference. That was Howard on the floor there with Roseby. The ball going to belong to McNeese.
One thing you and I both noticed at shoot-around was McNeese came out, and their defense, they were all talking, they were pointing, they were talking about the gaps, they were in help side, they were ready to go. And you see that translates from practice out here. They really hang their hat on toughness and relentless defense.
Coach Gazzardo's teams have been known for defense for her entire career since she started at Southeastern Louisiana. Of course, brought that over as Sibley, too strong on the J, brought it over to McNeese.
We're talking about McNeese defense as they get back in transition. They've already forced 5 turnovers.
Traylor Walker too strong on the three-pointer, and not just forcing turnovers. Look at how they rebound.
Look how fast they are. They're just off to the races as soon as they get that basketball.
It's one of the reasons why transition defense was so crucial for Coach Bishop as they prepared for this game. That is Stephen F. Austin. Kemp gets downhill. There's nowhere to work. Freshman Carly Hamilton coming away with it. Sibley coming off of a monster game. Oh, call! Able to get it to go there, let them play.
Hesitation, I think that got everybody to stop and watch here for a minute.
Traylor Walker got past the defense. Look at the ball movement. Dominguez catches in, plus the foul.
Well, that play all started from the very beginning.
From Hermione Dominguez, a big reason why they've been able to overcome the early turnover issues.
Yes, and it all started on that play, if you saw it before, is that SFA practiced this in shoot-around about driving in, bounce pass, and then kick out to Dominguez.
Leonard Bishop really focusing on the crispness of those passes. He knew if they threw lazy passes, they were going to get picked off by the Cowgirls.
Because McNeese is just so fast. They're so quick in their rotations that you have to be fundamental on the passing and finishing out the play.
This is also a very deep McNeese team. They've got 10 players that play double-digit minutes, which allows them to be so relentless.
This is one of the things we were expecting, is the switching up of SFA defense, this time into a zone, which just made McNeese use 20 seconds of that shot clock. Teams usually have to pull it back out and reassess what's happening with the defense, and that one going SFA's way.
A foul called is going to go against Carly Hamilton. That is her third, team third here in the first quarter. 4 minutes left to play, and if you're Stephen F. Austin, that's really what you want. Get McNeese into early foul trouble. That was the issue for Howard in that respective semifinal against UTRGV. She got 2 early fouls.
And I think that's always a key, especially in a championship game, is to be the aggressor, especially with how McNeese, you see them right there, how aggressive they are, is to run that back at them. See if you can get them in foul trouble and off of the rhythm a little bit defensively.
Really, no one's been able to run that defense right back at them. McNeese, one of the best in the country, and the takeaways, and then they do that on the offense, and then as the floater goes down.
Oh, that was just such a pretty play from dumping it into the high post and the back door on the backside. And as we were talking, as they showed us their great offense, but McNeese, as they come away with another deflection, this is one of the best teams in the entire nation for defense. Number 7th in the nation for turnovers and 5th in the nation for steals.
Big bucket there for Micah Perry, the transfer from Florida. She posted her first career double-double in the Lady Jacks' first game of the tournament. Just picking apart the zone, lays it off. Howard, no. But a foul on the rebound. It'll stay on the floor.
Well, McNeese, we talk about their defense, how great they are across the nation, but look at this. They're always going to be trying to get their hands on a basketball. Every single player is a magnet for the ball, and then, whoa, what do you got? Great defense, you got even better offense on the other side. Nice backdoor layup from the Cowgirls.
Avery Berry in to run the point guard. She's the leader of the second 5-corner three. It's open, rattled home by Ariana Patton. And Leonard Bishop saw enough of that on March 2nd. Patton hit a school record 10 3-pointers in that win.
10 threes. She had 30 points in that game. Just was unconscious. She goes, the best thing I did was just keep shooting. She was 10. Just total knockdown for her.
Traylor Walker answers with a triple.
You know, she's shot a couple of them already today, and that was one of her first makes. Traylor Walker, 1 for 3 from 3, but I like it when she keeps shooting the basketball.
Howard, that's good transition defense, rises and draws the foul on Traylor Walker. She is so heady for a freshman.
Yeah, she just has a motor and athleticism for days. One of the things Coach Gazzardo said is we've been recruiting her since she's been in 7th grade. We knew she'd be a great fit for our program, and she's just continued to get better on the basketball side, knowing her spots. And you see right there that athleticism, it's a rip and trying to get to the rim.
Howard from Bossier City, Louisiana, Parkway High School, which has been a pipeline to women's college basketball. You have Michaela Williams at LSU and Chloe Larry at Tennessee Tech. Both of those the respective freshmen of the year in their conferences.
Yes, you gotta love that. Excellent high school program, how they were able to recruit some of the best in women's basketball.
You have to imagine with players like Williams that some others like Howard get overlooked early on, and that opens the doors for coaches like Ayla Gazzardo. As Kemp, a talented freshman, gets downhill, leaves it off for Ferrier. Not very often you see McNeese in a half-court set. Love to get out in transition as Pierre splits the defense, draws the foul.
Coach Bishop's not happy with that. You cannot allow an offensive player to get downhill against a zone. That's why you're playing a zone defense, is to be connected and making sure you're moving in coordinated action. And to have somebody take a straight line drive, you can see that kind of frustration for Coach Bishop and SFA.
Now, the thing about Jen Pierre, keeping her in front of you is a nightmare. She has got an absolutely devastating first step.
Yeah, not one that I want to come back in. And if we didn't say it, because she's so quick and she has such a nose for the ball, this is also a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. So good to see her filling it up as well.
Yeah, 3 consecutive seasons for Jen Pierre as the conference's best defensive player. I thought you were going to say that first step that you had.
Oh, right. I don't think so. I don't think I was ever known for that, Jordan.
Selling yourself short. Traylor Walker blanketed, able to find some space. Perry taking on the defense. Turn around, in and out. Perry, second chance falls, and that has been an issue for SFA all year long.
Yes, and that was just an excellent extra effort. Those were the kind of margins of winning the margins of how you stay after the offensive rebound. And that's what Coach Bishop said. It's all going to be about that mindset of getting those 50-50 basketballs.
Extended defense by SFA here. 1 minute remaining here in the opening quarter. Nice D. Pierre from the elbow. Too strong. Lady Jacks, 5 of their last 6 from the floor. They've already hit 3 3-pointers. Nearly thrown away. Active hands again causing problems. McNeese basketball.
And that play right there, you just can't pick up the basketball against McNeese. You've got to keep your dribble alive because they are denying. They're on the line and up the line against the other players. So you have to continue to dribble and create some space. There's always a retreat dribble available.
6-second difference between shot clock and game clock here in the opening quarter of the Southland Conference Championship. Whipped cross court, blocked at the line. That was Traylor Walker who got a hand on it. Dominguez pulls up. No. Shot clock is off. Pierre off the screen to the block. Blocked. Ferrier able to get there.
What a huge block by Ferrier. We got to talk with her earlier, and she said the one thing I love to do the most is block shots. I played against guys my whole life, so I was always trying to block their shots, and it's paying off here at SFA.
1.4. Into Pierre. Deep three-pointer was met by Dominguez, and that is how the first frame comes to an end. Back and forth we go. The #1 team in the conference, McNeese, holding on to a...
Loved what Coach Gazzardo said there was, we had won it earlier, but we didn't want to cut down the nets. Our motto is finish, and we didn't want to cut down any nets until the end of that regular season.
And Coach Gazzardo feels like it's still not finished. It finishes
That's right.
with the tournament championship. She said they remember, even though this is not technically a rematch, the players on the floor for McNeese remember last year's game. They feel like they owe the Lady Jacks one.
And that's because there's been so many transfers from Southeastern over into McNeese.
Runner no good for Patton. In fact, the entire team transferred over with Coach Gazzardo. This is the most transfers of any Division I program in the country. 10 transfers for the Cowgirls this year.
Not to mention the assistant coaches, the trainers, the managers.
Oh, and what did they bring with them? Their conference best defense.
Their best defense, of course, and there's even some fans from Southeastern that came to cheer on McNeese yesterday, and they are here again today. But she said this was one of the biggest moves that she wanted to make, and really loved the resources and how much the athletic department believes in men's and women's basketball. And obviously that was evident yesterday, Dorian, with the men's team taking home the Southland Championship.
Alexander going over the top air ball. The McNeese men winning their 3rd consecutive Southland Conference tournament last night. They took down SFA in that game. It's the first time ever that you've had the same matchup on the men's and women's side.
It's the same matchup in the regular season. These were 2 of the best for McNeese, men's and women's, with their record. We still have confetti sitting on our media desk over here.
There's a little bit of confetti coming down during shoot-around this morning as well. That was a smart play there from the Lady Jacks. They'll get the basketball back with 13 seconds on the shot clock. SFA certainly hoping for a different result in this game. In and out of the hands, Howard takes advantage. McNeese with numbers. Into the corner, that was Sibley.
And that was excellent transition defense, getting back.
Transition opportunity for SFA, and you can see Dominguez after that just settle down just a bit.
Putting her hands out, like doing that calming thing, because that was a bullet. It was right in front of our desk here. It was the right idea, but McNeese is so fast. They move and anticipate on the pass, so better to make the safe one.
Unsafe pass there from Alexander, kicked out of play. It will stay with McNeese. That was the 3rd consecutive turnover for the Lady Jacks here in the second quarter, as neither team has scored in the opening 90 seconds.
I really like how Howard started for McNeese, and I think that's important to try and get her the ball again. That's number 24 in white.
Has it, takes the shot, came up short. Sibley, turnaround, no good. That is the one thing for McNeese. Coach Gazzardo doesn't know who is going to be herself every night, but this is a deep, balanced offense, as is SFA. The Lady Jacks with 5 different players averaging in double figures. Kemp able to draw the foul as Pierre tried to go over the screen, and we watched during shoot-around McNeese going over top of those screens. They knew they were coming.
Yes, and those screens are so important, because when you can get the Cowgirl defense to be picked off just a little bit. It's going to give you just a little bit of room for those driving lanes and get the Cowgirls into rotation. So I like whenever teams set screens and continue that player movement in the offense.
Movement, backdoor cut for Roseby.
Yeah, right on cue, Dorian. Like we were coaching and drawing it up over here. But yes, the player movement, when you cut, when you set screens, good things happen offensively.
First lead of the game for Stephen F. Austin. Howard will take it from 15. It's off to the right.
You know, one of the things that's really working for SFA is their defensive rebounds. Right now, they're out-rebounding SFA 16-4.
Deep triple, Roseby off the mark. Howard tracks it down.
Those boards, you know, they are going to continue to add up, but it's holding McNeese a little bit in their offense.
Both Pierre and Patton lightning fast for McNeese. What would you like to see from the Cowgirls here?
I originally said get the ball in. Well, now we have a foul, but I like that idea. Getting the ball into the paint between Howard, Alexander, and Sibley. Those are their best players who can really create some action inside the lane.
Second foul on Ty Sibley. It's the second team foul on McNeese here in the second quarter. Ball pressure relentless. It opens up the backdoor movement. Roseby into the double. Offensive foul. First on Roseby, first team foul on the Lady Jacks.
Well, that play didn't work out because of the rotations on McNeese, but one play earlier, you got to see, look at this backdoor cut. It's a pass, it's a give and go. And when you continue that movement, good things happen, because on that play, 2 plays before, you saw that there was no Cowgirls in the middle of the lane to take that charge. One play later, they were a step slower, and then McNeese had their rotations intact.
Rotation for Alexander underneath, and those are the margins that Coach Bishop was talking about. He said you scout McNeese so well, but then they change it up on you. That was the first field goal in more than 6 minutes for the Cowgirls. As Roseby answers with the bucket.
Roseby, and she's been a little bit quiet to start this first half, but for the Lady Jacks, she is their #1 scorer and rebounder, so that'll be huge to get her going.
Howard downhill, fell off the rim.
Tough rebound.
Taken right away, Patton, no. These are some easy looks. Howard can't convert.
These plays are never finished. You just got to keep playing until the whistle blows.
Dominguez trying to shake the defense. That pass tried to thread the needle. Well, we are so excited about this. We kick off our coverage of the 3rd National Women's Soccer League season tomorrow on ABC, Disney Plus, and the ESPN app. Boston Legacy, one of this season's 2 expansion franchises, takes on the defending champs, Gotham FC. Our pre-match coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern with a 1 Eastern kickoff.
So excited that it's starting back up again.
I know.
It's so fun.
Well, this, with the pace this one's being played, it certainly feels more like a soccer match than it does a basketball game.
Yes, exactly. How much everybody's running out here.
Does this tempo favor SFA or McNeese? As the shot goes up and down out of the hand of Chamberlain.
To your question and to your point, Dorian, this is actually SFA's style of play. They want to play. They average about 75 points per game. That's #1 in the Southland. They want to continue to put points on the board.
And another foul going to go against McNeese is the second on Lexi Alexander, 3rd team foul of the quarter. So for the 2nd consecutive frame, McNeese finding themselves with a couple of early fouls. SFA did a good job withstanding the opening punch by the Cowgirls. Three-pointer, no good. Big board from Roseby.
And there she is again. Roseby just with an excellent positioning on the out-of-bounds play, and then getting another offensive rebound.
Roseby said the biggest change in her game this year is just discovering the confidence that she had in her skill set. Inside to Alexander, touch pass to Chamberlain. No, it fell off the rim.
Roseby with the ball right there. Let's see if she can make something happen. We got to talk with her, and she loves Kevin Durant.
Ooh, looking more like Chris Paul. Dish it out to the corner. Dominguez knocks down the three. They got the swag going.
I was just going to say that versatility.
He had a great teacher in former SFA head coach Mark Kellogg.
Yes, and you know, these two were such great friends, family friends also. For over 8 years, they coached together. And what I loved about that is they would say Coach Mark Kellogg is such an X's and O's, and that's what he learned was organization and how to execute a game plan. And Coach Mark Kellogg for West Virginia, they just won the Big 12 tournament title last week, and it's been their third 25-plus win season. And so you see that tenured success that he built at SFA, now West Virginia, and then you see him finishing it out here for Coach Bishop.
And you talk about the third straight 25-plus win season. He started this run that the Lady Jacks are on now, 10 consecutive years with 20 or more wins for SFA.
And Coach Bishop, he was actually called Coach Kellogg. He was the very first person that called Coach Kellogg and congratulated him on that Sunday Big 12 tournament win. So you love to see that kind of coaching tree and that friendship last throughout the years. And the success, of course. Trophies included.
Gazzardo loves to see that from Jen Pierre. And Pierre known more for her defense, but she can score. She's sneaky and shifty when she gets the ball as Howard gets another takeaway. Howard to the rim. Bishop wants a timeout. Pushed by McNeese as they're back within one. Second quarter for McNeese. This is the first tournament championship they've played in since 2012.
And Polk Nation is showing up for the Cowgirls, and that's what they wanted here, was a tremendous women's basketball program. They had the success, 3 straight tournament titles for the men's program, I should say, and really wanted to bring in Coach Gazzardo and turn the program around, and boy, has she done it.
One of the major reasons why they targeted Coach Gazzardo from southeastern Louisiana is she had led that Lady Lions team as that three-pointer short out of the hands of Perry, but Coach Gazzardo said we had done everything we wanted to do in Hammond.
And gave back exactly what they promised to the team in Hammond, and she's even from Hammond, so a lot of great relationships still there.
8 on the shot clock. Gardner, triple try, no good. Traylor Walker, relentless on the glass, draws the foul.
Well, what I loved about that play for SFA is how aggressive they were trying to get second chance points. On the other side, they need to take more shots at the rim. That was too many three-pointers in a row. A lot of times, McNeese is going to leave you open if you can't hit that knockdown. But what's been working the best for SFA was getting the basket into the rim.
Look at the rebounding margin, 23-6 right now in favor of the Lady Jacks, and it's paying off with free throw opportunities. Traylor Walker, how big is it to have her back? Missed the first 19 games of the year, multiple injuries she had to overcome to get back on the floor.
Even a scooter accident we had learned about that kept her out for a while, a back injury, but she has been one of the main leaders on the team and somebody who's reliable on both ends of the court for SFA.
And for the last 2 years, both Traylor Walker and Dominguez part of that championship team a year ago as Roseby draws the foul, or picks up the foul, I should say. That's her second.
Dorian, you and I were talking earlier about how these two teams met up, and that's what they do in the Southland Conference is they play a home and away. And there was a couple of different styles of game, but as McNeese came away with both of those victories.
Yeah, well, McNeese doing what they did in both of those games. They turned SFA over as Howard gets downhill, and when Howard can score, it just gives McNeese that much more dimension.
It does, especially on the inside. And one of the things really impressive about their last game is they scored 26 field goals. 32 field goals on 26 assists, just like that on the fast break.
Howard says I can drop the dime off as well. Laid it off for Pierre, and that is McNeese basketball to a T. They average over 26 points off of turnovers per game.
Yes, turning teams over at 24 turns a game, and here's another one.
It's Howard leading the charge, this time to Chamberlain, who traveled.
They just got a little excited, but you can see their intensity's picked up, their defense getting deflections, and everyone is always in the passing lane. You see it here. Look at the double team and just rips it away. Howard says, give me that. That's only a freshman leading your fast break, and there's one of those assists we were talking about right there.
When you have a defense that is as aggressive as McNeese as an opposing offense, how do you counteract that?
I'm so sorry. What did you say, Dorian?
I was asking you how you counteract the aggressiveness of McNeese's defense.
Okay, you don't get sped up. That's number one. All about fundamentals. And right there, they got lucky because there was another deflection, but it's about jump stopping, making sure you're securing your pass. I know that sounds like very elementary, but that's what works, especially when the defense is moving, and then throwing in some ball fake screening action really has worked at the beginning of the game for SFA.
Howard tried the step through. It was last touched by SFA, so it will stay with the Cowgirls. 16 seconds on the shot clock. We're already coming up on 1 minute to play here in the second quarter.
So fast.
In a flash, almost as fast as Jen Pierre.
Yeah, well, almost. That's extra fast.
Hamilton to inbound. To Pierre. She got lost. Defensive breakdown as McNeese gets back in front. Taylor Walker off the screen, the kick out to Kemp, three-pointer, no good.
But that was the action that works. That ball screen action, defense is going to collapse.
"14-second difference between shot clock and game clock in what has been a tightly contested opening half.
ISO play.
Pierre to the rim, no good. Shot clock is off.
And that's why they called that, because of her quickness. She can break someone down one-on-one. Coach Bishop's calling for the last play.
9 to shoot. Kemp trying to shake Pierre. Threads the needle, and the lay-in by Ferrier just before the buzzer. Wow, what an ending.
What an ending. It started with a crossover and then just barely got that pass in, but it finished for SFA on the offense.
Team off of turnovers, and McNeese feels that they're actually better in their third quarter this season. So does Stephen F. Austin, though. The Lady Jacks have been a third quarter team this year. As we take a look at what's transpired to this point, the turnovers really the big difference in that opening 20.
I believe SFA would have had a lot more shot attempts. They only had 26 in that first half compared to 31 for McNeese. And with 15 turnovers, that's just missing opportunities to put points on the board. So they got to take care of the basketball in the second half.
Another foul. This one's going to be the third on Lexi Alexander. It's the first team foul of the third quarter. And plays like that are the reason why Stephen F. Austin feels like they're so good in the third quarter. They average better than 21 points per game in this frame.
Yes, in this quarter. So they really turned on. We asked actually both coaches, what do you say in the halftime? What do you bring? And they just turn on the juice, and it gives them a time to reset. A lot of coaches will take that time after the first two quarters to make big adjustments, and then also be like, hey, we've only got 2 quarters left to make things happen, and that's what it's all about.
20 minutes to decide a championship here in Lake Charles. And if you're Ayla Gazzardo and McNeese, this one looking very similar to the way that it turned out last year, as you see the splits there. Dominguez leading scorer 10 points, Roseby with 7, Howard with 12, Pierre with 7. The balance is there on both sides. 6 to shoot, Pierre for Pat, 3's down!
And we said it before, but it's actually worth mentioning again that she had 10 threes, 30 points in this matchup just 10 days ago, Patton did. So she can turn it on just like Dominguez trying to get downhill.
Taylor Walker turned it on at the end of the second quarter, came up empty there, and Coach Bishop kind of laughingly talked about those 10 three-pointers, said she only hit 1 in the first game, so don't game plan for 10 triples.
And McNeese is like that. You just never know who's going to show up.
Perry on the run out, gets the bounce. Perry's been a big part of the offense, doesn't necessarily score in the volume as some of the other players, but she contributes in the key spots.
Yes, and she stands at 6'1" and is listed at that, and so she brings a lot of length for both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I just had her first career double-double a couple games ago.
And neither SFA or McNeese particularly tall as Sibley gets into traffic. Step through, how about the patience, but then missed it.
She split the C's there between the two of them.
Dominguez up top to Roseby, catch and shoot, too strong. Pierre to the block, ran into Gardner. And Jen Pierre, you can see kind of the thought process is to lull you to sleep, and then I'm going to hit that hole and go.
We definitely can, and she's a player who grew up with her mom as her high school coach. So she knows a thing or two about 24/7 basketball and showing up with that tough leadership and making the right decision with the basketball.
Having an extended conversation there with associate head coach Kenneth Lee Jr. They call him Coach KJ. He is the defensive coordinator that was in charge of putting together the scout for this game.
And he just runs this defense of, bringing the intensity. They want it for 94 feet. He goes, we don't just need to make winning plays. We're not watching this game. We're coming out here to win.
Dominguez doubled and a foul called. Now that pressure from McNeese. This is the side part. This is the third foul on Lexi Alexander as Coach KJ looking on.
Yeah, just the intensity that he brought in shoot around. We were ready to get in our defensive stance the way he was talking out here. But all the players respect him the most because of everything that he brings, the attention to detail. And he also had a ton of success as a head coach in the AAU program, but he's been with Coach Gazzardo now for 9 years and leading this defense, which again is #1 of the best in the nation.
He's not going to be happy with that defensive
exactly.
breakdown as Perry got loose underneath.
We'll see him standing up over there again.
I'm surprised you can't hear him even through the headsets.
Yes.
Coach Gazzardo very high on her staff. They have been with her for 9 years. As Howard, the spin move, draws the foul, she'll go to the line. Second foul on Shaw Gardner.
We're going to see Perry here again. They've run a couple of very nice backdoor plays on that baseline, and that's been Perry. She's been moving so well without the basketball, but give Gardner credit. That's your post player dropping passes from that high post.
Well, especially in the mid-majors where you don't have the size that you have in a P4 program, being able to pass out of that high post is such an important element to the offense. As Howard comes up short there.
And it's not even just the passing into the low post, it's the ball reversal. That is so key to breaking down the defense, and she's been doing an exceptional job. And on the other side of the ball, it's been Howard and Alexander in that forward point position.
Keeps McNeese within 3. Cowgirls have still led the majority of the game. This pressure from McNeese, it is relentless as Perry into the body. Roseby taking on the defense and wins it.
That toughness, that physicality. She took on 2 players there, but really used her body control to be able to finish that one.
And the word that Coach Bishop used is to describe his team gritty. They certainly play like it as they nearly get the takeaway. In fact, they do. And who else in there? Perry, that 6'1" length. It's such a difference maker because it's not something that you see in the mid-majors necessarily at the guard position.
Yes, and she's somebody who, I love how composed she is. She never gets too high or too low, and that she's like a steady Eddie for this SFA team.
Mid-major comparison, is the pass going to be picked here? Washington from behind. Perry gets to the rim, lays it in. She reminds me a lot of Ellie Brueggemann at Linwood. And we get a timeout on court. SFA making a run. Well, it's turn tomorrow.
Yeah, look at these. We got to watch these tonight after we get done with crowning a champion here. Adrian Davids Vicenza for BYU has been a lot of fun.
This one has been a lot of fun. Head coach Leonard Bishop in his 3rd year as the head coach of the Lady Jacks, trying to win his 3rd consecutive tournament championship. Howard getting it done for McNeese. Cowgirls trying to get their first title in over a decade. Perry, too strong. Farrier, the O board. Rebounding has been so crucial for SFA in this game as Perry spots up from the corner, too short. And a foul on the rebound will go against McNeese. But looking on for Coach Leonard Bishop, his dad, Leonard Bishop Sr., who was a tremendous high school coach. Bishop learned underneath him prior to Mark Kellogg. And he said Dad watches every practice, watches every game, texts him with his thoughts after the fact.
Yes, and he coached for over 45 years in Texas and Missouri in high school, won a national high school championship in 2002. And Coach Bishop for SFA says it was a soundtrack of his life, the sneakers squeaking, the ball bouncing, and his dad will text him all the time. I really liked how he told us that one time he sent him an invoice for his commission on scouting it out. But what a great relationship he has with his parents and growing up so deeply around the game.
That invoice actually came after last year's South Tournament Championship. I wonder if they pull this off, if he'll get another one as Howard left it short.
Yep, all the scouting reports, you know how that works. I'd love to see that and how emotional Coach Bishop got about that relationship. He says his mom on the other side is so passionate and competitive they can't even sit together, so we couldn't get both of them in the screen together.
Roseby three-pointer, no good. Another, well, that one taken away by Pierre. Farrier nearly had it. Whipped out to the corner, triple try, no good, out of the hand of Washington. Second chance, Howard taking over for McNeese.
Wow, that rebound. She came out of nowhere and snatched that one down. That's only a freshman right there getting it done, trying to will this team back here.
17 points for Howard. She leads McNeese on the year in points per game and rebounds as she has pulled the Cowgirls back within 3. Dominguez over to Perry. Driving, runner, got the bounce. That's impressive.
You and I were just shaking our head because that's the kind of play that SFA needs, is because McNeese is extending out their defense. They're really in those gaps and passing lanes, is to try to get them going to the rim and get McNeese on their heels.
Sibley in and out. Now Perry has half of the Lady Jacks points here in the 3rd quarter. And those driving lanes made possible because of the attention that Hermione Dominguez draws.
And they're switching on every single player-to-player defense. And look at the jump right here.
Poked away, but it will stay with SFA. Abilene Christian in 2019, they're now in the WAC. What will it be this year?
It can be McNeese, and congratulations to them. That was their 3rd tournament championship in a row. Javon Garcia with the MVP, 31 points. It was a big play.
Well, SFA trying to become the first team to repeat as Southland Tournament Championship champion since Central Arkansas did it in 2016-2017. The Sugar Bears the last team to achieve that feat.
And just a little reset as well. So we mentioned earlier in the broadcast that McNeese has won both games that these two teams have played. So you know how tough that is to beat a team 3 times. We knew it was going to be back and forth like this.
Ariana Patton, who just knocked down the jumper, was a big reason why McNeese able to get such a large victory in the March 2nd regular season finale. 10 triples in that game.
Yeah, we can't say that enough. And Howard with 24 as well. But SFA, they are really working their offense and being patient against this defense. You can see they made that adjustment with those 15 turnovers in the first half.
What's been the biggest adjustment in taking care of the basketball?
They're taking care of the basketball. They're not making chancy passes is what I call it, because if it's a chance to get there, it's probably not going to get there against great defense like McNeese.
Well, that was a chancy pass by the Cowgirls off the front of the iron. Farrier has been all over the boards here in the 3rd quarter.
Farrier has been a difference maker for sure coming out of halftime. A couple of offensive rebounds, excellent passes.
Lydia Kajust also on the floor, number 7 in purple for the Lady Jacks. She is a veteran. Roseby deep 3-pointer. Just off of the mark. Pierre starting to pick up the pace. Gazzardo making the play call. 90 seconds left here in the third quarter. Howard in the lane, cashes in for 2 more.
Oh, that was just too easy. They just did a little pin down screen for her. She comes up 3 feet, and she can knock that mid-range down.
Right now, it's the Howard and Perry show going on here on the floor. So much movement in this FSA offense. Roseby has the mismatch. Kajus can't find her. 4 to shoot. Perry pounded. Off in time. Air ball. Clock violation. That's a tremendous job by McNeese helping to make sure that SFA wasn't able to get that ball to Roseby on the low block.
And the reason they weren't able to get that to her is because of the spacing. They needed to pull that ball back out and create a bigger passing angle to be able to get that ball into Roseby, because that she definitely had the mismatch. McNeese is switching everything on the defensive end.
Trailer to the floor. Pierre put her on skates. 10 to shoot. Sibley splits the double. Alexander over the rim.
That was a disciplined play by McNeese, finding their open player.
Perry streaking out ahead of the defense, and a tie-up going back to the Cowgirls. How about that crossover from Pierre, just breaking ankles out here?
I know, it looked like you earlier in our little opening shoot-around.
Because I was falling off of my Uggs, probably. 8 to shoot here in the third. Pierre, another crossover. Oh! Draws the foul, couldn't get it to go.
Oh, that was so pretty. That is so low. Because she is already so tiny. She stands at about 5'5", 5'6" on the list, but wow, going from one side to the other of her body, crossing over.
Foul was on Isaiah Ferrier, it's her second. Now Pierre standing just 5'5", the senior from Springfield, Louisiana. We have you covered on Selection Sunday once again. It all starts at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with SportsCenter on ESPN. Reese and the guys look at the men's field of 68 as the brackets are announced, followed by bracketology and breakdowns of each region. At 8, the women's field of 68 is revealed with a complete breakdown at 9. That is how the third quarter comes to a close. 10 minutes left in Lake Charles to decide a champion. It is Champ Week, and this moves like that. We saw UConn punch their ticket earlier this week. The Huskies own the longest active winning streak in the country at 50 games, but check that out. McNeese, 21 consecutive wins. That's third best in the nation. When you're being mentioned with teams like UConn and UCLA, you know you're doing something right.
Exactly, and you know Coach Gazzardo said that was a turning point for their season, where they shifted from playing not to lose to playing to win, and that was huge for the Cowgirls.
SFA playing to win here in the fourth quarter as Kemp lays it in. She mentioned that loss to Northwestern State that was here at home in December, and she said having that loss at home really shifted the way that they started to go after games, and it's made all the difference.
Yes, when you shift that mindset, that is so huge. And you know, with McNeese winning 2 against SFA, you're seeing SFA starting to execute down to the wire. That's a play out of a timeout, an excellent backdoor on the other end.
5 to shoot into Alexander. It's been a quiet afternoon for her. It's off of the heel. And when you're in a game like this as a player, what's the mindset as you head into a fourth quarter?
This is all about finishing, and this is all about executing, because you know things are going to start to get strategic, whether there's fouls, whether there's timeouts, and that, you know, it's one of those old sayings that every possession is so crucial, but you really have to think about it that way. And Dorian, since the halftime, there's been such a stark difference in how SFA has ran their offense compared to having those 15 turnovers in the first half.
They had 4 turnovers in the third quarter. Valuing the basketball was a key coming into this game. And Lexi Alexander, that last foul was her 4th. The one early on in the third quarter was assessed to Patton. That one could loom large down the stretch for the Cowgirls.
Yeah, that's a big miss to have on the bench for McNeese, as you're getting a look at Alexander right there, she just had a double-double last game, has been playing her best basketball this season. As you can see her frustration there on the bench. With 9 minutes, she's still going to get a lot of time back.
Alexander transferred over from Nichols to Southeastern Louisiana last year because she wanted to win a championship, did not get that opportunity last year thanks to SFA. This year trying to get that last opportunity as a senior.
You can see that in the way that she's playing, too. And, you know, with 4 fouls, she's going to be able to come back in here with plenty of time.
And McNeese really going to want her. She has been tasked with scoring more this year than she has in the past 2 years.
Sibley trying to post up on the mismatch against Perry.
8 to shoot. Sibley to the lane. No.
Another defensive rebound for SFA. They are winning the battle of the boards, and what a difference it's made. They're up 33-14 on the boards.
Now, plus 20. It's led to second chance opportunities for the Lady Jacks. 10 on the shot clock. Kemp off to Gardner. Look at the ball movement. Rose being no good. Pierre lays it off. Triple it and taken away. The McNeese faithful not happy. SFA has started the fourth quarter 0 of 3 from the field. Gardner, triple try, too strong.
And in the first half, in that second quarter, SFA turned to shooting a lot more three-pointers, and you see that there, a couple of possessions with shooting the three, as McNeese takes it the other way. But for SFA on the offense, we're going to want to try to take it with what's been working, something inside, just like you see McNeese now.
We got to wrap up the Southland tournament first, but the ACC men's tournament semifinals coming up tomorrow. Miami and Virginia already moving their way through. You got the top seed Duke in action against Florida State, North Carolina, Clemson. Listen, this is the best time of the year. Nobody can tell me any different.
Absolutely not. Where you have like multiple screens open, and what a job Coach Ryan Odom has done for Virginia this year, ranking in the top 10 in his first time there with the Hoos.
Listen, I used to take the first tournament day off of school so I could watch all the first round action.
Once in a while.
Absolutely. SFA has led by as many as 7. Inside to Gardner. Inside out, Kemp laces for 3.
Just said that a minute ago about the importance of getting a paint touch, and what a great decision by Gardner to kick that out for the open set three-point shot.
3-pointers were the difference maker for the Lady Jacks in last year's championship run. They shot it amazingly well from 3. Patton that time came up empty. Perry on the run out. Perry, roller drops as SFA taking a page out of McNeese's book. Howard was the hot hand in the third quarter, that time in and out. This Lady Jack team plays with a lot of juice when they're playing well. That's a bit of a heat check.
That was definitely a heat check. I don't know if that was the one that Coach Bishop wanted on the fast break.
Pierre backing it out.
Coach Gazzardo right in front, calling out what she wants.
They give it to the freshman. Howard, count it, plus the foul.
Hey, and look at her energy that she brought right there. Every opportunity she can get around that 10 and 12 foot.
So that's a no then.
Stop living on a prayer and get State Farm.
The Disney Resorts collection is...
Pierre getting downhill, taken away, threw it right to Micah Perry, and then is fouled to compound the issue. It's going to go against Hamilton. It's her second, team second.
And SFA switched up into a 2-3 zone right there. So they made that layup, and on the way back in transition, they called out a new defensive scheme, and that got McNeese a little flustered, and you see the turnover there going the other way.
And that's something you don't see very often from McNeese. They're the best in the country in turnover margin.
Yes, they only average about 10 turnovers per game. They usually are really great at taking care of that basketball.
Take it away right there.
But better at taking it away.
Patton on the move. Offensive foul. It's Dominguez stepping up to take the charge. And look at Leonard Bishop. He is pumped over on the side.
Again, they won both of those games. There's a lot of things at stake right here, Dorian. It starts with McNeese, 21-game winning streak. You have SFA, who won the tournament championship last year, and McNeese, who won the regular season this year. And this is what is on deck, is a tournament championship and a ticket to March Madness.
McNeese looking for their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2012. They've only been twice as a program. They went in back-to-back years. Meanwhile, as Dominguez draws the foul and Lexi Alexander's day is done, SFA has gone to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. They're 4.5 minutes away from making it a three-peat.
And that's a tough blow for Alexander. Just her as a senior, she was coming out hard. They were working a trap, but she gets her 5th foul. So now for McNeese, they lost one of their best post players, and now Sibley is going to move into the forward position. So they're going to play more of a 4-out, 1-in with Howard in there. But that smaller lineup really works for McNeese on the defensive end.
Well, the smaller defense was what worked for SFA yesterday in the semifinal against Lamar. Dominguez catching.
Oh!
Slam! Look at the little hop on the way back. Dominguez feeling it.
She pumped her fist. She has hit some big ones. Yesterday, she hit the game-tying one to push it into overtime, and really showing her shooting prowess out here tonight.
Now, only had 3 points in that game against Lamar, but they were 3 big ones. 8 on the shot clock. Hamilton draws the foul. It's going to go against Traylor Walker. It's her second.
And we've been talking about Dominguez. She has 15 points on the night, but look at this three-pointer. You can't give her any space. And then look at her fist pump right there. She is feeling that because she knows that's big. But you still got 4 minutes left to play here in the Southland tournament action.
Dominguez in just her second season after transferring from Division II Adams State finished a three-pointer shy of the single-season record last year with 89. This year has broken the single-season record.
There's just so many three-pointers.
I know.
You know, she's actually even invited to the 2026 Celsius Women's College Three-Point Championship. She's that good of a shooter. That's held at the men's Final Four in Indianapolis at Hinkle Fieldhouse, April 3rd. We'll see if she gets a look. The way that she's playing, I'm sure the committee's watching that.
Well, McNeese was able to hold Dominguez to just 9 points in that last regular season meeting. They all came off three-pointers. She has broken loose here in this championship game.
This is where the discipline for SFA is so critical of taking care of the basketball against this tough McNeese defense. Wow.
Dominguez into the lane, offensive foul.
And that was Howard, who slid over in rotation. They're going to need a couple more plays like that. We were both impressed. Watch this behind the back, because that was so shifty right there by Dominguez. But then it was Howard putting up her body. So huge opportunity here for McNeese to get some points on the board. For the Cowgirls, with 3.5 minutes left, you want to try to shoot this basketball within the first 10 to 15 seconds, the best shot you can get.
Another deep possession into the shot clock, but it pays dividends. Simply missed the first, missed the second. Oh, you couldn't have asked for a better look.
That was exactly it. You point blank and tough miss there for Sibley.
No field goals in over 2.5 minutes for the Cowgirls. Extra pass, Traylor Walker. Tied up, taken away. McNeese with numbers. Pierre, short. Howard draws the foul. She has been relentless.
Just her fight, her intensity, her grit that she plays with. And that was McNeese's 14th steal of the game. So If you're tuning in, this is one of the best defensive teams in the entire nation. Top 10 in steals and turnovers forced. So when they put on this press, they can really make some things happen.
That was the second foul on Hermione Dominguez. As Howard off the mark, getting down to the wire. Free throws at a premium.
And tonight, McNeese just 9 for 15 at the line.
And McNeese on the season just south of a 73% clip.
So watch for the full court press from McNeese. They're going to go for a steal, also try to get those 10-second calls.
It's broken by SFA.
Barrier and Kemp have been tremendous with the basketball.
And this is where the veteran leadership of SFA comes into handy. They've got a freshman with the ball now. Tried to feed it to the other freshman. Patton, triple. Yes! SFA has turned it over 3 times. Walker says, how about another three-pointer?
What a response.
Patton left it short. Oh, collision and a jump ball. How about the timing from Pierre?
Just looking at it, I couldn't even quite see it with our monitor.
SFA going back to the NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, McNeese has not been since 2012. Lady Jacks made it there a year ago by virtue of taking down Southeastern Louisiana in the championship game.
And for McNeese, they're doing an ISO play for Pierre.
And she gets it to drop.
And that's that quick shot that the Cowgirls want in the early shot clock, and they're trying to pull up for the defense.
6-point game coming up on 90 seconds left. Dominguez gets past the double. Somehow, Perry plus the foul!
Perry, that's the first sign of emotion that she's had this whole game. Another broken play for the Lady Jacks. Look at Dominguez hung up with 2 and 3 people on her, but somehow Perry continues to move without the basketball and finds the opening underneath. And then you see that chest bump, that emotion coming out here, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Perry converts. 68-59, McNeese in need of some points. Sibley, three-pointer off the mark. It was Sibley who just picked up that last foul down the court. Both teams into the bonus now as well.
Now you have a defensive substitution, and for McNeese, if I were McNeese, I'd be up there not even letting that ball try to come in, trying to trap immediately so they can't get it up the floor. That takes 6 seconds off the shot clock.
Right now, if you're the Lady Jacks, clock is your friend. Dominguez wide open, drains the three, and Mean Mugs on top of it. That look says it all from the McNeese fans in the building as that three-pointers off the back iron. Pierre, no. Chandler Walker has the board. Lady Jacks break the press. 35 seconds left. SFA fans on their feet. 9 seconds to shoot, off to Dominguez. Air ball. Perry gets it off. McNeese has it, final possessions, final seconds, it's